think good afternoon to just everyone. I think we don't have anyone on the West Coast, so it's a good afternoon all the way across the board here. I want to welcome you guys to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. My name is Jerry Shockey. I oversee all the educational programs here at our museum, and we want to welcome you guys and thank you for tuning in to us today to participate in our Heart of a Hall of Famer series featuring Hall of Famer Randall McDaniel. And a few people I'd like to recognize first before we get started, some folks that were crucial to making this program possible. First, the folks at Cooper High School and Robbinsdale School District, where you'll see Randall McDaniel is at. Jane Prestabach, and I probably mispronounced your last name, Jane, but you've seen my last name. Mine's even more difficult. Did I get it right?
You got it right.
All right, there we go. So I want to thank Jane. She's a tech director there for the school district, and thank the school district for allowing Randall to come into their classroom and utilize their technology and broadcast to schools across the country. We'd also like to thank Dr. Lance Ford and Tamberg for allowing us to use their TCS for you schools that are tuning in. That's their content server. The teachers, they're recording the program. So if you guys want a copy of the recording afterwards, go ahead and feel free to contact me, and we'll get you a copy shipped out as soon as we get that edited. And then lastly, the folks at eTech Ohio. They're our state bridge. They serve all the content providers in all the school districts across the state of Ohio. They're the ones that made this connection possible, and many of you are aware of them because you've probably contacted them if you're having any technical issues. So I want to thank Aaron and all the folks there, Michelle, Derek, for making this possible. And we also want to thank the MVP of the program, not you, Randall, but Mary Ann, because she's the one that did all the hard work. Randall's wife is the one that got everything set up and did his planning and got this nature that this took place. So this is something we've been planning all the way back. I think Mary Ann and I started chatting back in April about doing this program in December. So thanks to her as well. This program, Heart of a Hall of Famer, the idea behind this is to convey what it took to get into the Hall of Fame beyond just the athletic ability. One thing to be said about our Hall of Famers, if their God-given ability wasn't in pro football, they would have gone on to achieve excellence in some other endeavor in their life. Because at their core is their character, and those 6 pillars of character that you guys are probably familiar with, hopefully you've studied them before you did this program: the trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, and citizenship. And we've got a great example of someone who not only achieved greatness on the field, being inducted to the pinnacle of achievement of success for an individual as being inducted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but someone who has achieved greatness off the field. So this is a program to really dive into those character qualities of what it takes to achieve in life, on and off the field. And we're very delighted and thankful that Randall agreed to do this program here today. Before I do that, I would like to recognize the schools that are participating here. So when I call upon your school, feel free to unmute your mics for a moment and show a little team spirit and cheer or clap or whatever you want to do. So let's do a roll call of the groups that are here. First is Bexley Middle School, Bexley, Ohio. Wow, impressive. All right, thank you. Gloucester High School, New Jersey. That's you guys. Did I mispronounce it? Well, I've been mispronouncing it the last 3 programs you guys have participated in, so I'll have to get this right. I'll have to get with your teachers afterward to make sure to rehearse this a little bit better. Go ahead and mute your mics there, Gloucester, and we'll go to Grand Meadows in Minnesota. Okay, all right, pretty good. A little better this time, Grand Meadows. Let's go to Pittsburgh Carmel, Pennsylvania. Thank you, Pittsburgh Carmel, and let's go to Kinder in Louisiana. All right, I don't know who won. I think between the first and the last group, I think you guys might have won the cheering competition. But we want to thank you guys for tuning in to us. We'll ask all the groups to have their mics muted for the time being until we get to you guys for questions. But I'd like to introduce our featured speaker here today. And that gentleman is Hall of Famer Randall McDaniel from the class of 2009. And let me give you a little bit of information about Randall's career, both on and off the field. He was selected in the first round, 19th overall pick back in 1988. And during that year, he earned all rookie honors. He started, now get this, he started 202 consecutive games He started in 13 straight playoff games for the Vikings. He blocked for not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 1,000-yard rushers during his career. He also blocked for 5 3,000-yard passers during that career as well. He was the anchor of the offensive line for the Vikings. During 1998, the team that set an NFL record for most points scored during a season, and that consisted of some names maybe you may or might not have heard of: Robert Smith, Chris Carter, but one that you guys are probably very familiar with because he's still in the National Football League, a guy by the name of Randy Moss was a rookie that season. He was named All-Pro 9 consecutive times. He was selected to play in a record 12 consecutive AFC and NFC Pro Bowls from 1990 to 2001. So that's a little bit about his on-the-field achievements, but let's talk about off the field. And if there's one thing that I guess we could summarize about Randall, and you'll hear about all his off-the-field things that he's done, is that he has a passion for working with kids. Not only, number one, he holds a bachelor's degree in physical education from Arizona State University. He received a provisional teaching certificate and worked as a substitute elementary school teacher in the Robbinsdale School District from 2002 to 2006. Works as a full-time grade 3 and grade 4 basic skills instructor and tutor in the Robbinsdale School District from 2006 to 2008. And then recently, a couple years ago, accepted a full-time position as a grade 2 special education basic skills instructor in Westonka, Minnesota. Along with his full-time career as being a teacher, he's got a lot of passions off the field as well, and all those include working with youth, whether it's youth with cancer, whether it's homeless youth, whatever it might be. And he's with a number of organizations and foundations that either he's affiliated with or he's the one that started them. Places like Hands On for Homeless Children, Adventure Us Learning Alternatives, Mr. McDaniel's Classroom, and Team McDaniel. Before I turn things over to Mr. McDaniel, I want to show you guys a little clip of his playing career.
In 1988, the Minnesota Vikings used the 19th selection in the draft to select Arizona State guard Randall McDaniel. As a rookie, McDaniel career with the Vikings and Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I think I'll just have an email open.
Okay, if you guys want to mute your mics for the time being, and please join me in giving a round of applause to Pro Football Hall of Famer Randall McDaniel. Okay, Randall, Mr. McDaniels, the mic is yours.
Okay, thank you. Okay, first of all, I want to say hello to everyone, and thank you for spending time with me this afternoon. I'm excited to be here and talk to you and answer your questions about character today. To me, character is extremely important. I believe character defines who you are and what you value. It defines the way you live your life, and it determines the mark you make on this world. In my opinion, a person with good character make the right decisions even in tough situations. They take the opportunities that are given to them, and they use them in a positive way, and they leave the world a better place for having been there. For me, good character begins with honesty and integrity. I think it requires having compassion for others and the desire to treat everyone equally. I think good character requires you to be responsible and accountable for your actions. I also think it requires you to constantly challenge yourself to be a better person and stay open-minded and continually learn to grow. Unfortunately, too many of these qualities have been forgotten. I feel good character needs to be measured by your actions and not your words. We give a lot of lip service about value and good character, but our actions don't always match what our words are. For example, let's say you saw someone being bullied in your school. If I asked you what you would do in that situation, most of you would say you'd try to stop it. Well, we all know that's the right thing to do. But the truth is, that's not what usually happens. Bullying occurs every day in schools across the country, and every day the same thing happens. Some students walk by, pretend they didn't see it, others stop and watch. Some students join in, and others, they're just happy it's not happening to them. It's extremely difficult to stand up and do the right thing when you're worried about what others might think. Doing the right thing requires courage, and it requires a willingness to be true to yourself, even when it's tough. But in my opinion, that's the foundation for good character. I want to live in a world that cares about things like honesty, integrity, fairness, equality, and compassion. I believe most people want the same things. I think we all need to stand up and say character matters. Today's a great start. I'm really glad you're here to talk about it. So enough of me going on here. Let's open it up to questions out there.
Okay, and groups, the schools participating, this is the way we're going to handle things here today. We're going to work in the order of registration. And so Bexley, start thinking about your questions as I go over this a little bit. But the order is going to be Bexley. I'm going to mispronounce it again. That school in New Jersey, Grant Meadows Public Schools, Pittsburgh Carmel, and then Kinder Middle School. That's the order that we're going to work in. But one thing, as we encouraged the students earlier today, one thing we encourage you guys to do is think about this. You are connecting with and interacting with one of the greatest football players to ever play in the National Football League. And you think about some of the greats today, and whether they're offensive linemen or whether you're talking about Peyton Mannings and the Tom Brady's, they hope to be in his shoes someday and be inducted into the Pro Football of Fame. And not only has he lived a Hall of Fame career on the field, but he's listed, and I just listed just a few things that on a whole page full of activities that he's been involved with. He's been a Hall of Famer off the field as well. So you guys have the opportunity to ask him questions about what are some obstacles that he encountered. What did he ever struggle in school, or any of those questions that you might want to ask of him. I encourage you guys to ask those very thought-provoking questions, because one thing about Randall is he's a very open and honest and humble guy, and he's more than willing to share his story with you guys today, which is why he connected here today. So with that being said, I want to open up the mic to the first school. Bexley, you can unmute your mics. We're going to go first round. We'll go 2 questions from each site, and then after that we'll go 1 question each round. And we'll try to rotate as many times as we can through. Go ahead, Bexley.
Oh, yeah, true, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, ask your question.
All right, when you were younger, what was your childhood like? Did you ever get in trouble or anything?
When I was younger, what was my childhood like, and did I ever get in trouble?
Yeah.
If I said I didn't, I'd be lying to you. No, my childhood, I think I had a great childhood. I will say this, I did get in some trouble. When I first went to school, I'll give you this story. School was always tough for me. And so my first day of school, I kind of thought I owned the water fountain, because I figured it was the one thing I could do to make sure I had made my mark, or to cover up that I was nervous. And so I wouldn't let anyone use the water fountain. So I was a little bully in school. So I made lots of trips to the principal's office. I think we were on a first name basis. Mr. Vaughn was his name when I was in elementary school, Mr. Pitts in middle school, and in high school I figured it all out. But you can learn from those mistakes, and you got to be accountable for all your actions that you do, and I did that, and so I'm still here today.
Okay, go ahead. Next one, Bexley.
Sorry. What made you want to start doing football? My name is Mikela.
What made me want to start?
What made you want to start football?
What made me want to start playing football? Here's the scary part. I didn't start playing football until I was in high school. I wanted to be a baseball player, or as I say, when I started to play football, when I was 8 years old for Pop Warner, they actually told me I was too big and told me to lose 20 pounds. And my mom had taken me over there to do this, so I looked at my mom, and as you can look at me right now, I'm a pretty good size here. I love to eat. I wasn't going to stop eating at that time. So I played baseball up until I got to high school, which I would say was the best thing that could have happened. I played other sports along the way as I was growing up and met a lot of good people in there. And then I started playing in high school, and that's where it kicked in that I can do pretty well in football. But I played every other sport, and I think playing other sports makes you a well-rounded person because you learn from a lot of other people, you learn other things from other coaches, and like I said, it kept me out of trouble. It made me make the right choices along the way. I chose to be participating in sports instead of running around hanging out in the street corners like a lot of my friends did. So sports kept me on the straight and narrow.
Okay, thank you, Bexley. Let's go to New Jersey. You guys have a question?
Oh, I don't want to. Okay, you can do it.
I gotta look at one.
Okay.
Did you ever face adversity which challenged your character?
Great question.
Yeah, there's some choices when I was a young kid, you know. I will give you this one. I faced them at that time. They were my closest friends. I won't say their names. We had done everything together, and we're walking to school one morning, and they decided they want to break into a house along the way going to school. I mean, being their friend and growing up together, they were giving me the peer pressure that I know a lot of you go through. They were saying, come on, if you're really our friend, you'll do this with us. What are you scared? They went through all the lines of saying why you should do it. And I just thought about, you know, how my parents had raised me, about being honest, being truthful to yourself. And I realized that's not something I wanted to do. Why make a bad choice that would affect me the rest of my life? So I went to school. I left them there. And they got caught and they got in trouble, and that was their choice. And at that time, being raised the way I was raised, and my parents always instilling in me the good values to do the right thing, be hard work and integrity, that I was able to walk away and not end up going down that path like they did. So that was some of the things I faced when I was younger.
Go ahead with your next one.
My name is Brandy. As a result of hard work, do you believe you have made an impact on the world?
Very good question.
Great question.
I think I have. I mean, like I said, because of that hard work and dedication that I have, I just moved it right into working in the classrooms like I do now. I've been fortunate to work with kids for now over 15 years, and the school I'm at today, I've been running into a lot of the young men and women that I worked with when they were in kindergarten, and now they're sophomores, juniors, and seniors in high school. And for them to come up and say, hey, thanks for being there for me back when I was younger, I think I made just a little bit of difference. And I mean, like they said, when you're working in the classroom in schools, if you can just reach one kid, and I've been fortunate I had a few kids come back and let me know that I made a difference in their life. So in that way, I believe I am affecting the world in a tiny bit. So yeah, and I think I'll just keep doing it too.
And that's that's great point, because some of the things we talk about his career, in pro football, and obviously I'm a little biased because being at the Hall of Fame, but our goal here is to promote the positive values of pro football, and there's a lot of great positive values. But in the end, pro football it's entertainment for the most part. I mean, to the fan. But Randall now being a classroom educator, and I have a lot of respect because I've worked with so many educators. I'm married to an educator as well, a classroom educator. So that's making an impact, making a difference, and contributing to really contributing to our country and our society by helping bring up the young people of our country and being a good influence and a great role model like him. So there's a lot of great things to learn from football, but remember it's just a game. What he's doing now is really is what's really making a difference. Let's go to Graham Meadows.
Well, I'm not on camera, so. All right.
Go stand up here.
It's fine.
Speak up, young man.
Hi there. Okay. Some of us lack qualities that make us good characters. So, what advice would you give for developing that kind of character?
Okay. Like I said, friends, your classmates, your teachers, keep going there. If you play sports, your coaches that are there, I mean, they instill those values, the hard work, the determination, caring for others. I mean, you got to ask yourself, what do you want to be in life when you grow up, and what you want to do in life, and set yourself on that path and start doing the little groundwork to get there. But you got to surround yourself with good people. And like I said, everybody knows in school who has good character, who doesn't have good character, and it's a choice that you make on who you want to be with and what you want to be in life and what you want to do. Like I said, if you make good choices, good things happen. If you make bad choices, then there's a consequence for it. But hopefully you learn from those mistakes. But I'm looking at your class out there, and I mean, there's got to be a lot of good characters out there. And so, hang around with the ones who are doing the right thing. And I think you all are on the right start right now. You're here today, you're talking, you get to chat, we get to have a little fun today, and you're on the right step. So I think the people in that room and the teachers around that room right now can help you out with that too also.
Great question. Do you have another one? Fran Meadows?
Yes. Who are some well-known people today that you think demonstrate good character and leadership?
Wow.
Another great one.
I'd be biased if I said all offensive linemen show good character. That'd be just me. But no, people today, I like. I mean, like I said, I work in a school. I mean, all the teachers that I work with and have worked with show good character. I mean, your family, your friends are some people, but you're saying well known. Wow. I mean, I watch Robert Smith on ESPN to go out and do his job. My college coaches, I get to see them coach every day out there in the pros, and college, but also in the pros. Well-known people. One of the best ones with good character, I would say, is out there, and I got to finish my career with him. Was Coach Tony Dungy. Coached in Tampa, then he went to Indianapolis Colts and won a Super Bowl. His character, his integrity, what he does is an excellent example of someone you can look up to. I mean, and he's a different kind of coach. He believes in letting the young men be responsible for their own actions and doing the right thing. A lot of people thought he couldn't succeed at a high level because of his style of coaching, and look what he did. He went to the Super Bowl, and they won the Super Bowl with that style of coaching. Other well-known people that show good character, let's look at politics today. Colin Powell. There's another one right there for you. So there's plenty of positive people out there, well-known people that I think exude good character.
Okay, thank you, Grand Meadows. Let's shoot over to Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh Carmel.
My name is Daron. Go Steelers. Louder. My name is Daron Smoot. Go Steelers. What is the greatest memory as an NFL player?
What are my greatest memory as an NFL football player?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody thinks I'm a little nuts. My greatest memory, or some of my greatest memories, bell just went off, it's my first game I ever played in. It wasn't against it was the NFL. We were playing New England. It was the first game that I ever started in. So I was excited about that. And you're talking about your character, as we talk about. Before that game, I got poked in the eye in practice. I couldn't see out of my left eye, but I still played the game. And I wore a dark shield so no one could see it. But I just believed I had to work a little harder. I had to turn my head and keep it on the swivel. And so that would be one of my greatest memories. Another great memory, and I don't know, I should have told this to the group from Wisconsin earlier. It's a funny memory, but it's a good memory. First time I ever played in the cold coming from Arizona, playing in Green Bay. You know, I'm on the sideline trying to keep warm at 9 degrees when the wind chilled more than that. And the old heaters back in the day, I kept my foot a little too close, and we got an interception, and I ran out in the field for the next play because we had the interception, and I actually set my shoes on fire. So we learned from that. It was a good memory, but it was not the funnest thing that ever happened to play 4 plays with your shoes melting around your feet. But that was a good memory because I learned never to get that close to the fire again. So, but those are some good memories. My first game is the main one for me.
It's another one, Pittsburgh Carmel.
Stand up. Yeah, athletics affect your academics in any way?
Did my athletics affect my academics in any way? I would say this, my athletics, it affected my academics by teaching me that I can also do as well in the classroom. I mean, I struggled in school. It was never easy for me. I always felt like I was behind. And I didn't put the work in like I did on the football field. But it taught me on the football field, if I was struggling with something, if I needed a little extra help, I would always go ask the coach, hey, let's go work on this, let's go do this. And I took that side of it. If I would do it in the football field, why shouldn't I do it in the classroom? So that side of it carried over where I knew I need to ask questions. You don't know everything. You never know everything. So if you're not afraid to ask for help when you're playing your sport or doing whatever you like to do, you can also do that in the classroom and apply it that way. So football and sports helped me in my academics.
And Randall, you talked about being, honest with yourself or leaning on people. I think that's one of the things that's really important is not only honesty to others and trustworthiness to others, but honesty to yourself. How do you feel about being honest and evaluating yourself and not being scared to rely upon someone else? Because everybody needs. Have you ever needed a shoulder to lean on every now and again, whether it's personally, professionally, whatever it might be?
Well, you always do. I mean, I'll give another example of this. I mean, the first time I went to college when I was going to Arizona State, I was the last person to want to go talk to a professor and ask for that extra help. Even if I was struggling, I was like, I got to figure out how to do it on my own. And like I said, I met my wife, and I had and she tutored me then, and she told me you can't be afraid to ask questions. You got to ask for that help when you need it. So my then girlfriend, now wife, Mary Ann, taught me there's nothing wrong with asking for help. And she brought that point up again about you would do it if you were on the football field. When I went back to school to work on getting my licensure, I was an old man, more experienced, but I sat in the front of that classroom and I asked question after question of my professors. I just wanted to make sure I was prepared, and the young adults were in there were going, well, why do you always ask all these questions? I go, because I want to know. If I don't know it, I'm going to ask. I'm not going to be the one that walks out of this classroom and say, I should have asked this. Why didn't I ask this? Because there's other people in that class also that probably have the same questions. So, no, I have no problem asking for help when I need it. I mean, I still do it now today. If I'm struggling with something, I'll go find someone that can help me out. Even as an adult, I'll do that. And that's what I tell a lot of the kids at my school, that there's nothing wrong with asking for help. That's what we're here for, and you take advantage of it while they're there.
Okay, well, thank you, Pittsburgh, and let's go to Louisiana. Kinder.
Which NFL team exhibits most of your 6 pillars of character?
That's a very good question.
That's a great one.
You're going to make me do some work right now. Okay, which of my teams would exhibit that? You know what? From being on the outside now, looking in, as we would say, the teams that I like that I think exhibit that character are the 6 pillars. I can think of 2. I would say Indianapolis. I like how they work. I like the coach and what they do there. And then I like New England. They don't exhibit all of them, but they exhibit most of them. I mean, the hard work, the dedication, believing that it's a team, that it takes a team to play the sport and do that. I see them show that a lot more to me, that they exhibit the teamwork, working together, caring about each other, and taking care of the business they need to. And it doesn't matter who gets the credit for it, because in the end, it's all about the team.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly, Randall, especially with the Patriots. If you look back through their, especially through their one of the best streaks in NFL history, what they did through the 2000s, they never, really ever had a big name player. Tom Brady now is, but at that point, there weren't any real big name players on the team, and they just did it with a team philosophy.
Yep, and that's what you like to see. They all came together. They put aside individual and said it's all about the team.
Kinder, another one. Great question.
What were other things you did to occupy your time when you weren't playing football?
Other things I did to occupy my time off the football field?
Yes.
Okay. like I said, I mean, a lot of people didn't know that. I mean, when I played football, during the off season or on my off days, I spent a lot of time in the classroom. Kind of the classroom like you're sitting in right now. Though you're in the media center right now. I knew what I wanted to do when football was going to end for me, so I started volunteering in classrooms. And so the day that I retired, I went right to work in the classrooms. I still do that now today. I love working with young people. I love being there to help out. I love it when you guys get it, when you understand something. And my job I'm doing now, as we say, I'm trying to work my way out of a job. Or I work in a department where if the kid doesn't need me anymore, then that means I did my job, and that's what I'm trying to do to myself right now, is work my way out of a job. So I'm enjoying everything I'm doing right now.
Okay, let's go back in Ohio, Bexley. Bexley? Yeah, go ahead.
Out of all the defenders you faced, which one was the hardest to block?
Out of all the defenders I faced, who was the hardest to block? All right, I would start with, I always say this, I always start with my own teammates that I had to start against. When I came into the league, I had to go against Keith Millard. At that time, he had recorded 19 sacks one year, and he was defensive player, up for Defensive Player of the Year. That's what I had to learn against, so that was tough. Fellow Hall of Famer I played 8 years with was John Randall, who's now in the Hall of Fame. For 8 years, he gave me headaches in practice, so he made the games so much easier for me. Playing against guys in the NFL, he's no longer with us today. He passed away from a car accident, but Jerome Brown of the Philadelphia Eagles, he is probably one of the few guys who would make me sit up at night and think about what I had to do. My technique had to be perfect. I knew I got to work a little even harder than what I normally would just to make sure I had a good game against him. But he brought the best out of me. And I think I did the same for him. And when the game was over, we both shook hands and laughed about what took place and look forward to going against him the next time.
And talk about that, Randall, the preparation involved. I mean, you probably felt pretty confident no matter who you were going up against if you were well prepared, you know?
Well, if you're well prepared, I mean, a lot of you right now today are sitting in classrooms, you're studying, you're spending, 6 hours at school behind the desk, and you got your lunch. That's the NFL. I mean, everybody assumes that you come to practice and all you do is practice football for 2 or 3 hours and then your day's done. You actually come in and you start basically say 8 o'clock in the morning. You sit in meetings, you study film, you break down your opponent, you look for his strengths and weaknesses. You do that up until noon. You do a walkthrough, have lunch, more meetings after lunch, and then you practice for 2.5 hours, and then you come back and watch a little more film, get a workout in, and then take film home to study even more of your opponent. So you're spending a lot more time sitting in a classroom studying your opponent. So, I mean, you get those good study habits now while you're in the classroom. They'll pay off if you have that opportunity, if you're fortunate enough to get an opportunity to play. You're going to spend more time studying film and looking at your opponent, so you got to have those good study habits. So, and I'm assuming that's the same for any job out there that you're going to do. The better prepared you are, the more, I'll say this, the more prepared you are, the easier it looks for you out there in the field. For me, everybody thought it was so easy, but the reason it looked easy is because all the hard work you put in before, the preparation before. That way you can go out and just have fun and turn it loose.
And you know, like you said, Randall, that same thing if you're well prepared for a test, or well prepared to today to do this video conference broadcast. We're well prepared for this, and I'm having fun now. Everything seems like it's going smoothly, and it transfers into all facets of life. Thank you, Bexley. Let's go to Gloucester. Is that correct? Did I get it right?
No, Gloucester.
No.
Gloucester.
Gloucester.
Yes.
Gloucester. Oh, okay. Well, go ahead with your question.
Why did you want to teach second grade?
Why did I want to teach second grade? Very good. Well, I will say this. I am going backwards in life. When I first started volunteering and working in the schools, I started in 5th grade. And the teacher that I volunteered in her classroom, she went from 5th grade to 3rd grade, so I went to 3rd grade. And she went from 3rd grade to the main office, and so she sent me to 1st grade. Hung out there for a while. Then I went to 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. and now I'm back in second grade. So it's not like I work well in all the grades. I love all of it, everything I do. At the new school that I went to, that was the position that was open for second grade, and since I'm comfortable working in any of the grades, I'm still in second grade. So yeah, and the kids get to enjoy it, so they say they get their turn with me in second grade. Wouldn't be fair if I kept going with the same group and didn't let those other kids have an opportunity to hang out with me for a little bit. But no, I enjoy any grade that I am, but second grade is where they put me at, and I will do my best there until they ask me to move to a different grade. I am afraid of kindergartners, though. I left that part out. They scare me to death.
I don't know if you guys realize how big Randall McDaniel, during his playing days at least, was 6'4", 6'5", 280. Yep. So if you can imagine him being a teacher in your school, with especially the group of second graders, that's I think you listen to every word that he says. And I would listen to every word he says, even now. So let's go to Grand Meadows.
Did your life change at all with your friends and family after you joined the NFL?
Did my life change at all after I got in the NFL?
With your family and like your friends?
You know, my close friends that I had when I was growing up are still pretty good close friends. I will say this. Some of my college friends that I have now, they're my closest friends still to this day. I think they keep you humble. They keep you grounded. I mean, your true friends will let you know, if I ever thought I was getting too big for myself, my head was swelling up or anything, they were the first ones to sit there and pull the sharp pins out and burst the bubble and keep you grounded. Things that may have changed, I think I may have had more friends that came along that I really didn't hang out with that all said we hung out, which happens, which is okay. The hardest thing was not with immediate friends. Other people felt like they could just come up and ask me anything, ask for anything, or ask me to do something for them all the time. I will say that that's been probably the most difficult part about playing professional football and having this opportunity to do the things that I do. I think everybody assumes that they can just come up and ask for anything sometimes, and it's hard to say no because everybody has a good cause out there, or everybody really needs something. But I do this. I make sure I take care of my immediate family, and if my closest friends ask for help, I will help them. A lot of times they don't ask for help, and I will still help no matter what anyway. But that might have been the biggest change with family and friends.
Okay, let's go to Pittsburgh.
How does it feel to teach children basic skills?
How does it feel? It feels great. And I would say that part of my job is called basic skills, where you're working with kids that need a little extra help sometimes. Sometimes I'm working with kids that are gifted, that need to be challenged a little more. Doesn't matter which end of the spectrum I'm at. If you ever done something or worked with someone where you were helping someone out and they finally get it, and to see that feeling, if you've done that with people before and you see that they get what you've been working on with them, it makes you feel good that they got it. I love seeing that light bulb go off when I've been working with kids. And so it means I'm doing my job, and it means that they're going to be doing better off, and they may not need me anymore, which would be a good thing if they don't need me anymore. But it's great. It's like I said, it's great when the kids get it. And like I said, I've been very fortunate where I got to play football, one of the sports I love, something that I really love doing. And I get to do my second love, which is work in the schools and work with young people. And I mean, what better life could there be?
All right, and let's go to Louisiana.
If you could have played with any other team, who would they be and why?
If I could have played with any other team, who would it be and why?
None of your teammates are watching, so don't worry, you're okay.
I would say this: growing up, there was no football team in Arizona at that time, so the nearest team was West Coast. I love the Oakland Raiders. You know, Lester Hayes and all with the stick-em on his hands. That was one of my teams that if I would have had the opportunity, and I almost got that opportunity when on draft day when I came out. Raiders had 2 picks, so I assumed I was going to be one of them because I flew out 2 days before the draft thinking I would be there. Didn't turn out that way, which is, it's a good thing I'm saying now, because I ended up in Minnesota. But if I had my choice, if I could have picked the team, what team would have been, it would have probably been the Raiders. And that's because they were the closest team to Arizona at that time.
Okay, well, thank you. And let's go back to Bexley, Ohio.
How did you not get nervous with all those people watching you?
So you said, how did I not get nervous when other people were watching me play football?
Yeah, all those people in the stands.
I'll give you a quick one. When I played football, because you practice all week, you put in the hard work and the dedication, and you're preparing all week long. I tell my nephews this now too. If I'm watching the people, or I'm listening to the people, then I'm not concentrating on my job at that point. So for me, when I would go out in that field and play, all I was thinking about was playing football when I went out in that field, and I really didn't look at the crowd. It was great that we had the fans and stuff cheering, but I was really thinking about my opponent the whole time. Like I said, my nephews were on the sideline for one game, and they were able to stand down there. We were playing St. Louis one year, and pre-game I came out before the game and talked with them and everything. And then the moment I went back in the locker room and came out to play the game, I didn't see them anymore. And they said they were standing right next to me during the game on the sideline. And they were calling their Uncle Randall, as they were saying, and I never looked at them. They said I looked right through them. And I said, well, that was good, because I was concentrating on what I had to do on the field. So I didn't get nervous. I always concentrated on what I had to do. I focused on what I had to do. And then after the game was over, didn't it? You kind of noticed it, like, man, there's a lot of people in the stands today. Did you see those? And so that's how I was able to do it.
And again, as Randall's alluded to, it's because of the preparation, the hard work, and everything that took place before that. And that's whether you're going on the football field, whether you're nervous because you're going to take a test, or whether you're nervous for a job interview, whatever it might be. If you have the preparation there for it, you might still get a little nerves. Maybe Randall, he maybe got a few nerves here and there, but some of us get more nervous than others just because it's the way we are. But if you're prepared to do whatever it is that you need to do, you're going to put yourself in a great situation to succeed. Let's go to New Jersey. I gave up. I'm sorry. I had a teacher email me the name of your school.
Is that Brian Piccolo's jersey back there, 41?
No, that's actually Marion Motley, who was helped permanently break the color barrier in the National Football League in 1946. And that's it. We can show you real quick. Let's zoom in over here, just to show you. That is Randall McDaniel's helmet there. It doesn't have too many scuffs or marks on it, but that is your helmet that you loaned us, Randall.
I cleaned it up.
Hey, next time, don't do that. We like it dirty and bloody and all, more authentic. Go ahead there, New Jersey.
Were there any events that helped you shape into the man you are today?
Can you repeat that one more time, please?
As a child, were there any events that helped you shape into the man you are today?
Yes. I would use my high school. He was an athletic director, assistant principal in high school. Up until that point, I've been doing what I was supposed to. I was working hard in the athletic side. But Mr. Fulton, or we call him OK Fulton is his name, he came to me when I was in middle school and actually said, I know about everything you do on the field, but I'm not going to worry about that. I want to know the young man. I want to get to know the young man, Randall McDaniel, because he always told me, you're more than just an athlete, and there's much more you're going to do besides play sports. And so because of him then taking that interest in me outside of football and all the other sports that I did, and saying that he wanted to get to know me as a person and saying that I can do more than just being an athlete, set me on that path today that I do now, I think. 'Cause I work in the schools now. That is my job. And I think he shaped me has me on that path. And I say this now, most of my friends that I have today, from college to now, they're all teachers, they're educators. And I think I owe a lot of that to Mr. Bolton for just taking that interest in me and worrying about me as the young man. And I mean, which doesn't happen a lot sometimes when you play sports. Everybody likes you because you're the athlete, and they forget about you're also a person too. And you're going to be, and you are more than just that athlete. You are. I mean, and sports is only a tiny part of your life. I mean, you still got a lot of life out there to live, and so. Yeah, if you get that opportunity, take advantage of it. But remember, there's more things out there than other than sports, because it is just a game in the end. And so, take advantage of your opportunities when you do get them.
Okay, and was that New Jersey just went? I lost my track here. Is Graham Meadows next?
How did you show leadership while playing for the Minnesota Vikings?
I'm going to have to. Can you repeat that one more time, please?
How did you show leadership while playing for the Minnesota Vikings?
How did I show leadership when I was playing back in my? I mean, I'm a person of few words, and my wife doesn't believe that now because they can't shut me up anymore. But I like to lead by example. I mean, I would always be the one. I'd be working hard after practice, before practice, even during. I had this thing about I would like this. I always want to be, I would always want to be the first one over to every drill, and I always want everyone to work just as hard. So I used to race the running backs in practice all the time. And everybody assumed linemen are slow, and they had an easy race to win. And I actually made them work a little harder because a lot of people didn't know at the time, and I only said this once, I actually ran a 4.540, and I ran the 100 meters in high school. And kept my speed when I was 270 pounds. So I made these guys work a little harder. So I led by example. I mean, I even ran conditioning with the running backs, so that meant they couldn't dog it on those days either. So running those gassers the width of the field, back and forth in 35 seconds, I would come over and run with them, and I would beat half of them. And the other half that didn't beat me had to run a little harder, and the ones that lost to me had to work even harder. And so by example, I would go over and do things like that to keep everybody on the same page. That's all. Hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you, Graham Meadows. And one of the things Randall shared with the group earlier, and you guys as well, is that lead by example, not by verbal. Not by words. But not by words, but by example. And I think that kind of sums Randall, and as well as kind of that offensive lineman mentality. You don't get the glitz and the glam all the time. You're just in the trenches, and you're doing the hard work, and people follow that. So let's go to Pittsburgh Carmel.
Yeah. How and why did you become involved in education?
Can you say the last part again?
Loud, say it loud.
How and why did you become involved in education?
How and why did you become involved in education?
Oh, thank you. How and why did I become involved in education? I will say this. When I was going to Arizona State, my degree is in phys ed. I had a friend who's a teacher now and still working in the schools in Arizona. In the neighborhood she worked in the area she was in, a lot of the young men in the classroom wouldn't read. Because in their household, the men didn't read. It was only the women read. And so they wouldn't do a lot of the work for us. So she asked me to come out and volunteer, or just come out and read a book to the class one day. And so I did. I came out and I read this book to the class, and a lot of the young men in the class were like, "You're reading?" I go, "Well, yeah." I go, "Because if you read a book, you can go places that you've never gone before. It opens up so much more to you if you can read about it. Because you may never get an opportunity to go there, but you can read about it and picture that in your head." So because of my friend back then getting me involved in her classroom, I started coming on more. I did my student teaching at her school, and I came to her classroom every chance I had, and I would do the reading. I would work with the kids on their projects when they wrote their own book about themselves, and a lot of those kids started wanting to read more to me because of what she did for me by letting me come into her classroom to help her out. She didn't realize she was actually helping me out. And I found that passion even more, that I wanted to be in the classroom even more. So that is one of the reasons I do what I do now and work in education, because of my friend back then letting me come into her classroom and have that opportunity. So, I mean, like I said, you see what a difference it makes in young people's lives, and if I can just affect that one or two kids along the way, it's all worth it.
Randall, let me throw out a question there to you. We've kind of talked about it in this program and in the earlier program, talking about role models, and what's your opinion on role models for individuals? Should they be someone, an athlete that they would never, be in touch with, or do you think that role model should be someone closer that has an impact on your life?
Like I said, being an athlete, everybody puts us up on that pedestal, and that's because it's entertainment. You see us. But you really don't know those celebrities. I mean, you're not at their house, you're not at their home, you're not sure, you don't know, you don't really know them. You just know what they do on the field. My role models growing up were my parents. They were the first ones that instilled all the values of the hard work and integrity, caring for others. They laid the groundwork. That's who I looked up to. Along the way, like I said, I had Mr. Fulton. I had my third grade teacher, Mrs. Pyle, who at that time, you don't realize it, but she was the first one, because I will admit it now, I was a little bully when I was in school. And she was the first teacher to stand up to me. And I missed a lot of recesses, missed a lot of things, and she kept me in that classroom, and she never gave up on me. So I looked up to her. It's hard, though, because everybody sees the entertainers and celebrities out there in the public eye, so they automatically get that tag put on them. For myself, I don't mind. Like I said, I'll meet with kids. Like you were saying earlier, I'm more a person of action. I lead by example. I let people see what I do. When the camera's on, I'm the same way. When the camera's on, I'm the same way when the camera's off. So it's kind of, like I said, for most kids, I would say this. It's great to have, I call them heroes. Better to have heroes, as I would say. Let them be your heroes. Role models, you really don't know about celebrities. Unless you really know them, you don't know what their life is like. But I hate to say, you pick an athlete or an entertainer and say, that's my role model, I want to be just like them. Because then the next day you pick up the paper and something's happened out in the street that you didn't know. So I say the people who are with you every day, the ones, the educators, your church minister, your counselor, the mailman that brings your mail, the secretary at your school. These are all people to look up to. They're doing their job. They care about you, and they're setting good examples for you, and you see that every day. So, like I said, unless you really know that celebrity, it's hard to have them as your role model. But if you happen to know someone personally, and you get the chance to be around them, and you can actually see what they're like, then it might be okay. I still, like I said, my mom and dad are still my biggest role models, and they're still my biggest. That's what I look up to still to this day.
Great, thank you. And let's go to Kinder. We've got time for maybe a couple more questions out there, so let's go to Kinder, Louisiana.
Why did you choose Arizona State University?
Why did I choose Arizona State University? Did you see them beat Arizona the other night? Overtime, double overtime? Yes.
And the weather.
I grew up in Arizona. I was born and raised there. I never left. And if you grow up there, even though I had opportunities to go somewhere else at the time when I got scholarship offers, growing up there in Arizona, I always loved the Sun Devils. I'll be a Sun Devil forever now. I'm part of that history there. That's where I watched Frank Cush back in the day. I watched the Danny Whites. I watched Randy White. Bob Bruning, all these guys that played before, John Jefferson's. These are guys I watched play growing up that I wanted to be like as far as playing football. And we're better to do it than in your home state. And like I said, my parents didn't have a lot when we were growing up. So if I would have played somewhere out of state, they wouldn't have got to see me play as much. And the truth of the matter is, I could drive home and get my mom's fried chicken anytime I wanted. And that's what I did every Friday before we went on a game on Saturday. So there's the real honest truth.
And there was another ASU grad that went on to make the ultimate sacrifice in losing his life, a guy by the name of Pat Tillman. Some of you students may or may not have heard of him. I encourage you to look him up, The Ultimate Sacrifice. He thought gave up the glitz and glamour of the National Football League because he thought it was his duty to serve his country. So that's another person that, get a chance to look him up. He's really a special story. He really is.
Yes, he is.
Let's go to, we got one or two more. Let's go to Bexley. Are you there, Bexley?
I don't think we have any more questions.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Well, great. Thank you. And let's go to New Jersey.
Do you think today's NFL players could benefit from the character development program?
Oh, absolutely. I think there's quite a few, and I won't say names, but I would love to take them out and just talk to them a little bit. You know, and I mean, yes, they could. I mean, I believe in teamwork. Like you said, I played offensive line where you had to work together as a group and a team. And no one guy was better than the other. No one was more important. And I see a lot of that in the NFL today where they're more about me. They're thinking about themselves and not the rest of the team and what it's going to do for the group. And I think somebody needs to pull them aside and just have that talk with them because a lot of them couldn't do their jobs without the other teammates on the field. So I think they need to be, I think, yes, you're correct. A lot of them could benefit from the 6 traits of character traits today. It would help a lot of them out.
And I think that to add on to that, the National Football League is, viewed as so important that every rookie, they go through an orientation. Randall went through it when he was a rookie, but even more so now. It had probably just been started when Randall was playing, but they have player development offices with each NFL team that their job is to help players transition into that limelight. Because some of these people have never bounced a checkbook. Some of them have, don't know what the pressures of the media, the temptations that are out there with a lot of money. And how to handle those kind of things. So it's something that is preached and something that actually us, the Hall of Fame, got to benefit from because we had every single rookie come in a couple years ago across the National Football League as part of league orientation. So I don't know, Randy, you want to share anything about that?
Like I said, I mean, it's so frustrating when you see kids that are given this opportunity and they don't take advantage of this opportunity because of the choices that they make or I mean, we have this opportunity here to do good things out there in the community and help others, and I think a lot of them forget about that sometimes. Like you said, some of them never had it before, or if they did, they assume it's all about, like I said, I think they're blowing an opportunity they have that they can do so much more good out there if they just sat back and thought about it. And sometimes you need those good role models out there to demonstrate those character traits that they need to have that, because I mean, it would be nice to see a lot more of them do better things with what they have, because they don't realize, I mean, football is only going to last a moment in their life. So the things that they can do in that short amount of time that they're going to be playing football could benefit so many others besides themselves, too.
The average NFL career is only 3.5 years. So let's go to last one, and how fitting it's in Minnesota, Grand Meadows. Go ahead with the last question. The pressure's on. Make it a good one.
Pressure on. I can say something.
They don't have one.
We will.
We got one here. Okay. Okay, I know you played football and we were in the Hall of Fame, but you also said you played other sports like baseball or anything. Do you actually have a favorite one, or was football the one you cared for the most? Football.
Okay, that's good. I would say this. The scary part, I was a better basketball player than I was a football player. I had more offers, college scholarship offers in basketball than I had in football, which is, everybody looks at me now and go, you know, you didn't play. I also ran track, and I say I ran track. Everybody assumes I just do the shot and disc. I was a 100-meter runner. I ran the 200, I anchored the 4x100, and I anchored the mile relay. So I was pretty good at those things. So I had offers to go for track scholarships, but I don't know if something told me to play football. But those other sports that I played had carryover and helped me in football. I mean, basketball helped me with my footwork, lateral movement, stop go. So basketball carried over to that. Running track and doing all the things in track kept me in shape to do all the other sports. So I didn't just train for sprint work. I did the distance work. Even though I didn't like running long distance, I knew it would pay off and help me play the other sports. And yeah, I played baseball up until I got to high school. I mean, I really didn't start playing football until I got to high school. So what I say to a lot of you young kids out there today, I know now when you play one sport, they want you just to stick with that one sport because they do it all year round. But if you get an opportunity to play other sports along the way, you never know which one you're going to be really good at, and they all help. The carryover from each sport helps you out. So enjoy them all. But yes, I was a better basketball player than the football players. I think I can still beat a few of you right there if we went out and played a little one-on-one. I may be hurting tomorrow, but I think I can still take some of you.
Thank you, Grand Meadows, and that's a great way to end our program. Randall, do you have any last comments you'd like to share? Anything we didn't touch on that you'd like to share with the students today?
Like I said, I mean, I leave with this. I mean, I'm glad we're talking about this. This is great for kids to hear and start working on. The honesty, the integrity, the hard work. That is all good things for you to start building on now. And I'll say, make good choices. Just remember, the choices you make today affect you tomorrow. So make those good choices out there, and with that, you should do fine. And if you get that opportunity to play or go to college, do it. It's the most fun you'll ever have in your life. It's where you grow and mature, and you meet your lifelong friends afterwards. So take advantage of those opportunities if they come your way.
And if all the groups could join me and unmute your mics, and let's give a round of applause to Hall of Famer Rick Anderson. And likewise, Randall, I think you and I should give a clap for all the students here participating here today.
They did a great job today.
Yeah, they did. Thank you, teachers. Randall, let me just say, on behalf of the Hall of Fame, and our staff, and from our director Steve Perry to Joe Horrigan to our board, just thank you for doing this. It's we're really blessed to have some wonderful Hall of Famers here at the Hall of Fame. A great group of individuals, and you're one of them, and you helped make us a success. So I want to say thank you for taking time on your busy day, because I know you're a teacher, you're affiliated with all these associates. Trust me, it takes a lot of planning to even just get 2 hours of somebody's time these days. So I want to say thank you, and thank you to your wife as well, too.
Well, thank you guys for having me on. Let me spend a little time with you. I appreciate everything you guys are doing, and like I said, enjoy the rest of the day.
Okay. Well, thank you, and thank you to all the teachers. And this is a series that we have coming up. We have guys, Will Lanier, Floyd Little, Art Monk, Rod Woodson coming up. Check our website or get a hold of me, and we'll get you guys set up. But I just want to say thank you for tuning in, and this concludes our program. Thank you very much.